Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. We are gonna be talking about how the Cameroon people can keep or protect their votes. For the past 43 years, Paul Biya has been using the same mechanism, the fraudulent mechanism, to rig elections. But this year might be different, depending on what the stake holds. Okay, Issa Tchiroma's announcement of victory in the October 12th election, the presidential election, has triggered a large kind of atmosphere where people across Cameroon and the world are speaking about Issa Tchiroma's victory. Today we are in doubt to see if the people of Cameroon are ready to protect that vote, because the issue in Cameroon along the years we have seen is not to vote. The problem with Cameroonese and Cameroonians is how they can protect their votes, because Paul Biya in the many years have used the same thievery and fraudulent and election rigging to stay in power. Well, we saw that with Frundi, we saw that with Kamto. Now we are seeing the same thing with Issa Tchiroma Bakari. Okay, Tchiroma declared his victory, and speaking from Garoua, Tchiroma urged President Paul Biya to concede. But can President Paul Biya concede? That's the question. He called on the regime to respect what he described as the clear will of the people and honor. So can Paul Biya respect that? That is what we're going to be discussing today. And as Tchiroma urged the public to publish detailed region by region vote tallies, because there it will help the people to see each vote. We saw that in many areas where the vote were counted and everybody was even counting together, and that's the tension that we have now in Cameroon, where they're waiting on the Constitutional Council to proclaim the victor. But we have, experience have shown us that Tchiroma was an insider, right? He's a former minister who resigned and run for president, so he knows a lot of things going on within that, and most of the ministers, half of the ministers of Biya's ministers, even help Tchiroma financially. Okay, sources say that they were the one who helped Tchiroma to move forward, and part of the other ministers, since they were divided, remain with Paul Biya, right? And Gongo and Antaganji and the rest. But that is the politics that happened before the election, because Tchiroma, everybody was surprised. Why can Tchiroma just resign from Biya's government? Okay, but that notwithstanding, we are going to be talking much about that and see how we can enlarge on that. Okay, I'm going to talk on my talking point, and we will come back after my talking point. Okay, let's stay connected, and we'll come back after this.
Let it be known, we free people shall stand over a mean of land of Amazonia to defend the laws, live for freedom in a nation where peace shall ever reign. Let our dawn bring us peace and love. Let us show.
Thank you. We're gonna be. I will move straight to my talking point. The title is Cameroon's Crisis of Concession. Cameroon's Crisis of Concession. Why the Biya regime refuses to surrender power. The anatomy of a reluctant regime. For over 4 decades, Paul Biya has ruled Cameroon with a political formula rooted in control, fear, and managed legitimacy. His government has mastered the art of conducting elections without ever truly transferring power. Every electoral cycle unfolds like a theatrical ritual, predetermined outcomes, staged celebration, and a familiar silence from the opposition, crushed under the weight of a state that does not lose. The 2025 election, with Issa Tchiroma's self-declared victory, marks perhaps the most serious test of that system in years. But if history is any guide, the regime in Yaoundé is unlikely to concede defeat, because losing power is not just political defeat, it is existential collapse. Cameroon's ruling elite is bound together not by ideology or reformist vision, but by mutual survival. To concede defeat will mean opening the gates to scrutiny, accountability, and the possible prosecution for decades of corruption, human rights abuses, and electoral fraud. From the Anglophone crisis to embezzlement scandal within the state-owned enterprises, the Biya administration's survival depends on control of the narrative and the machinery of state. The army, intelligence services, and the judiciary are all interwoven into this preservation network. Surrendering to Tchiroma's claim of victory will, in effect, dismantle this shield. That is why the regime's response has been swift, labeling the opposition's early announcement as treason and threatening arrest for anyone releasing parallel vote counts. In Yaoundé's eye, legitimacy flows only from the presidency, not the people. The illusion of democracy. Cameroon's democracy has long been performative rather than participatory. Elections occur regularly, but the process is orchestrated by state institutions loyal to Paul Biya. The Electoral Commission, Constitutional Council, and the public media operate under the direct or indirect influence of the presidency. When results are contested, the same institution tasked with ensuring fairness became instruments of validation for the incumbent. This explains why, even before the ballots are fully counted, Biya's ministers speak with confidence about continuity and stability, while dismissing opposition claims as illegal provocations. The refusal to concede is only rooted in the psychology of authoritarian endurance. Biya's regime, like many long-standing autocracies, has equated itself with the nation's identity. In their logic, to remove Biya is to risk chaos. That argument is deliberately cultivated, reinforced by decades of propaganda, portraying the president as the only guarantor of peace between Cameroon's fragile linguistic, ethnic, and regional divides. The state's control of information amplifies this myth. Critical journalists are silent. International reporters face restricted access. In such an environment, even when the people vote for change, their will is filtered through a machinery that edits, delays, and finally erases it. Tchiroma's boldness in declaring victory has exposed this system's weakness. It cannot tolerate public truth. His call for transparency and citizen-verified vote count challenges the regime's monopoly of information. That is why Atanganji's warning carried both legal and psychological weight, an attempt to intimidate the population into silence before the facts emerge. The road ahead, power versus the people. The real battle in Cameroon is not between Tchiroma and Biya. It is between power and the accountability. Whether or not Tchiroma's victory claim is statistically proven, the regime's refusal to even entertain the possibility of defeat reflects a deeper crisis of political legitimacy. When a government fears the ballot box, it signals that sovereignty no longer rests with the people, but with those who wield power. This is why many Cameroonians are skeptical that the Constitutional Council would deliver an impartial verdict. As in previous elections, the results are expected to mirror the regime's will, not the electoral choice. But this moment is different. Across social media, civil society, and diaspora communities, Cameroonians are documenting police station results, building a people's archive of truth that may outlast the regime's propaganda. International observers, too, are paying closer attention, though Western governments often tread carefully when dealing with Yaoundé, a key security partner in Central Africa. Still, the tide of public awareness is shifting. For the first time in years, the question of legitimacy is not confined to whispers. It is being debated openly, online, and in the streets. If Biya's regime, once again, refuses to concede, it may secure temporary control but lose the moral authority to govern. No regime can indefinitely suppress a people determined to proclaim their voice. Conceding defeat should not be seen as weakness. It is the ultimate act of national maturity. The world is watching to see if Cameroon, after 42 years of one-man rule, is finally ready to embrace the truth. That is my talking point there, ladies and gentlemen. We have seen this phenomenon of Cameroon denial, okay, when it comes to electoral result. The ELECAM takes the result, pass it through the Constitutional Council for the final proclamation, right? But that is just what happens when the ELECAM is being appointed. All members of the Electoral Commission is being appointed by Paul Biya. All members of the Constitutional Council is being appointed by Paul Biya. Then tell me, where is that validity and transparency? How on earth do you think somebody that appoints those people are going to have accountability, right, to other political parties? It is unseen, right? So definitely along the years, for the past 42 years, we have seen Paul Biya using that strength of his the autonomy of appointments. And once he appoints you, you know what to do. He doesn't say anything, but you know what to do, okay, to maintain your appointment, okay, and that is how it works. So along the years, we have seen all that. But if you look at the vote, you see that even in all the embassies in different parts of the world, in China, Tchiroma won; in France, Tchiroma won; in Allemagne, that's Germany, Tchiroma won in Germany, he won in Belgium. All these places Tchiroma won. See, the only place that Paul Biya won was Russia. So imagine the capacity that Tchiroma had across the world. Yeah, imagine. But people are still saying the Cameroonese are ready, and if they are ready, they need to get ready to take back what belongs to them. I see. This is what somebody wrote. He said, "I hope Atanganji has enough room to imprison all of us who has declared Issa Tchiroma winner of the 2025 presidential election." Yes, but the voice of the people is very powerful, and that is what we are seeing. We are seeing that strong voice coming from the people themselves, right? What we see now is just that aspect where you see Tchiroma and Atanganji going back and forth. They're trying to make sure that they each of them claim the victory, right? But that's a talk of war going on. The talk of war going on between Atanganji and Issa Tchiroma, right? Two former colleagues going back and forth on the election result. But these are what we want to say today, because Cameroonese have to know that to voting in Cameroon is one thing. Protecting the vote is another. Okay, so what the Cameroonese need to do, they have to document, they have to publish region by region results. As now, before the Electoral Commission on the Constitutional Council go and these are what we want, so that we encourage local agents, polling stations, representatives to publish them now. This is what should be happening now, because when you keep those archives, you say, okay, let's watch first from the government. The Cameroon government is very fast, and they'll publish what they have or what they have prepared. So the photos, the videos, and signed tallies from each station should be uploaded, okay, or published on social media. We have social media now. This is what they have to do, because once they wait for the government of Cameroon, what they did to Frundi, they did that to they did that to the other candidates in the previous elections. In 2018, okay, we saw Kamto won the election. What happened? They did the same thing. So Tchiroma has already pledged to release such region by region data. We hope that he has to do that, start doing it now, because no matter the threat from Atanganji, the threat from all these people, Tchiroma should mobilize domestic and international observers to push this thing, because we have seen some endorsements coming from some political parties. We have seen all those coming from but we have to make sure that you keep the vote, right? Because Tchiroma is, when you see the overall tally of the votes, Tchiroma has really done excessively well across the world, and within Cameroon. So the vote tally that people are showing, you see a lot of winning on all the embassies, in all the embassies, everything. Okay, I'm telling you. But Atanganji keep threatening like he does, right? He is that guy who I don't understand. You look at what he said. Irresponsible and arrogant attitude of candidate Issa Tchiroma will be dealt with in due course with rigor and fairness. I mean, I've not seen a minister that has like the function of 5 ministers. He is the communication minister. Where is the communication minister? Rene Sadi. Where is the Minister of Defense? Where is the Minister of Justice? All these are ministers that have to come up and confirm that they have power, no, but they are hiding because they are supporting Tchiroma. Half of the Bias ministers are supporting Tchiroma in the back. Don't be fooled, okay? Don't be. They are pushing this one called Atanganji. He's going to front and be saying all those nonsense. But they are the real ministers who are supporting Tchiroma. They financially support Tchiroma's campaign behind the back because they were divided. They did not know what Ngongo's plan was. Okay? None of them knew what Ngongo's plan was. So they tend to support Issa Tchiroma in the background, because Gongo did not tell them his plan, what he would do after the election. So most of those ministers that even Tchiroma said for almost how many years? A minister will stay for almost 5 years. You cannot talk to Pobia, your boss. He said almost for almost 10 years he could not even get access to Pobia. But you are the minister. Major ministers. He was transport, communication, and employment. These ministries are very, very vital to the smooth running of a country. But imagine if somebody is a minister of communication, but you don't talk with the president. tell me what kind of. So Tchiroma was just there, like he said, as a minister of communication, he did not even know what is happening. He just stay there and they give him something to go and read. He go and read, and he doesn't know what he's reading sometimes. That is the problem, and most of the ministers face the same problem because they don't know the governments. There are just about 2 or 3 ministers who sit and make decisions for the country. The rest 15 ministers are just there. They're just like pack boys. They don't know nothing. Tchiroma should prepare a legal team, because in this kind of situation, you cannot just go and be doing things haphazardly. The legal team should get ready to respond to claims of fraud and manipulation, particularly for difficult cases like access to polling stations, voter roll issues, or suppression. You saw a lot where people were stuffing ballots and they are hiding, carrying stuff. All those things are things that should be documented. They should put that in the legal side of things. Okay, they have to understand the electoral code. Understand all these legal teams should sit and start preparing, because the Cameroon government goes ahead of these things. Okay, they go ahead and they know how to maneuver all this. They are used to how they know what is how to manipulate. Okay, they know, and most of the time this is an example of Frundi. Okay, tous les chiffres donnent Frundi vainqueur. Look, this is what happened in 1992. This Frundi. They say tous les chiffres donnent Nijon Frundi vainqueur. They say all ballots, all polling stations, the result came that Frundi was winner. Les premiers résultats des PV, l'origine des chiffres du MINAT, the Minister of l'appel au calme du chairman, l'armée sévère-t-elle le peuple, les uns ont appelé, le Cour suprême décidera. This is what happened in 1992. Remember, Biya came to power in 1982 and stayed for 10 years without any political party. There was only one party, CPDM party. So, before this multi-party system came, people died. In Bamenda, they had to kill people, they had to do all kind of protesting and everything before multi-party started in 1992. So imagine, Frundi now, people were very enthusiastic. People were very happy to go, and this change for 10 years with no political party, no election, nothing. People were very happy to go to the polls, and Frundi won. But what happened? The same Tchiroma phenomenon. That Frundi phenomenon is happening to Tchiroma now. Okay, all the polling stations are very, proving that Tchiroma, win. Okay, yes, but how do you keep our victory is clear, must be respected. That's what Tchiroma said, right? But Atanganji wants self-proclaimed winners, arrogance, irresponsibility will be dealt with. Okay, this is what is going on. But if you look at the situation today, you understand that a lot of people don't even know that there's a lot of political gimmicks going on within Cameroon system. Imagine in other countries, election takes place look at Nigeria, right? With 93 point something million voters. But six Cameroon, 8 million voters, right? With all this, but Nigeria's system can produce result in 24 hours. There is no 15 days. Look at Cameroon own. Résultat élection présidentielle en 4 jours, 14 jours, 14 days. You see the difference? So, with 24 hours and 14 days, tell me how corrupt and rigged that election might be. Because waiting all that long has a lot of panic between Real Madrid and Cotton Sport, right? Or panique contractuelle dans le camp du Real. Le préfet de Wouri interdit tout regroupement de plus de 4 personnes. You see, in Wouri, this is Douala, the SZO, right? The SZO of Wouri has banned any gathering of people, more than 4 people. They are afraid of any gathering. That is the same technique that they are doing, the same way that the government of Cameroon has used for Frundi, they have used for Kamto, they are using now for Issa Tchiroma Bakari. But the people need to understand that this time there is social media. This time there is all what they can use. Okay, if they think that they'll be quiet, fine and good. Okay, Issa Tchiroma must keep his messaging. Okay, to emphasize on a peaceful, constitutional, citizen-driven claim to victory rather than inciting confrontation. Right? Public statement calling on security forces to act in the interest of the republic, urging calm among supporters and avoid violent or incendiary rhetoric. Okay, that help to maintain legitimacy. Okay, he should continue his remarks. Atanganji has no right to ask somebody to. Everybody has a free speech. Tchiroma has already used some of these themes in his declaration to calm down, to urge the army and the military to respect or to act in the interest of the people, not in the interest of the government, right? Because they are there to defend the people. Okay, this is what Tchiroma should keep emphasizing, because Atanganji is threatening him because he knows that the more Issa Tchiroma goes out there and proclaim those things, the better. Okay, some political parties are there trying to also, SZF, remember SZF, this is a candidate, Ozi. Mark Barata wrote that SZF presidential candidate Joshua Ozi has nicodemously stated that Tchiroma won the presidential election and has called on the Constitutional Council to respect the will of the Cameroonian people. Okay, small baby step from the SZF, right? Because it's still, this is the long letter. I cannot read all that. Okay, but this is just what we know about how the different political parties are endorsing Tchiroma's win, right? It gives credence to most of that. Okay, yeah. So we are seeing a lot of people. This is coming from Dr. Nyamsi. These are people who are activists. They are political analysts. They are commenting. Okay, que ceci soit clair pour tout le monde. That this should be clear for everybody. Le président Issa Tchiroma Bakari n'ira pas devant le Conseil constitutionnel. Il a gagné les élections présidentielles selon le vrai CC qui est le peuple. So he's just saying that no matter what outcome comes from the Constitutional Council, the Tchiroma has won with the people's support. Okay, he has won the popular vote. Okay, and that is what Tchiroma himself said, right? So these are just example of people's opinion, and this is how people have seen it already, and it gives more backing to Issa Tchiroma to keep, that pressure on the government. Okay, because the more you stay quiet, Okay, this is what somebody said. Tchiroma infiltrated the criminals, studied their modus operandi, and struck the surgical precision. When he did, the hunters become the hunted, and panic has now gripped the CPDM cabal. It took him 33 years to revenge his incarceration. So you see, so these are people's opinion is coming all over, you know. You see what is going on. Yeah, this is UNDP party too. So you just saw SDF. This is UNDP. UNDP also send their yes. En conséquence, l'UNDP reconnaît officiellement la victoire de FSNC the Issa Tchiroma Bakari. It means that UNDP has also recognized the so all, if not all, of the political parties that send their presidents, almost all the presidents have backed Tchiroma Bakari. What does that tell you? Okay, how many? It's only somebody like Kabara Libi that has a little bit step back and said, no, let's wait for the Constitutional Council. All the rest of the political parties said Issa Tchiroma won it. These are people who were there, who were running. Oh, they say Issa Tchiroma won. So think of it. Okay, so sometimes let's face fact and let's be honest, because honesty is good, right? Most of the people who were running just concluded that Issa Tchiroma won. Okay, and it's very important. Okay, yeah, the last point I want to make is that Tchiroma should continue to build that alliance. We know he has been working closely with the media outlets and other the diaspora, the civil society, the media. So he should continue that, because those outlets help. That's why you see most people like Mimi Mefo and all those outlets are trying to push. They are there running the live broadcasts all the time, so it helps. Okay, so all those are things that Tchiroma should keep doing, because the people should get ready, because the Constitutional Council is weighing the option. Why do they have 14 days for Cameroon? Then you see other countries, they have just 24 hours. They use that time for their own benefit. Okay, they want the people to lose faith in the election, and that pressure should reduce on them. See, 8 million people voted. It takes 14 days for the result to come out. What do you think they are doing in that 14 days? It's to rig. It's just election rigging. He has got 93 million voters in Nigeria, but the vote comes out in 24 hours. You see the difference? So people should not be the earlier the Tchiroma and the campaign moves fast and smart, the better, because the more they waste time, this regime will outsmart them, and at the end they'll have the same fate like Frundi and the Kamto. Mark my word, Tchiroma should act now before it's too late, to make sure that they reclaim that victory. Okay, stay tuned, but make sure you share, and thank you for watching.
12 octobre, l'année de la lumière. Issa Tchiroma, ton peuple espère que la souffrance s'en aille avec hier. Na bolingo, tokobina pona mboka oyo. L'espoir renaît, tozali kotala l'avenir. 12 octobre, l'année du Messie. Le braquage est fini, place à la vie. Les jeunes se lèvent, les projets grandissent. Na esengo, tozali koboyisa mboka oyo. Issa Tchiroma, le peuple t'appelle.
l'emploi pour tous, la route qui appelle, l'éducation pour nos enfants. Cameroun tozali koyemba.
Let it be known, we free people shall stand over a million of land of Amazonia to defend our laws, live for freedom in a nation where peace shall ever reign. Let our dawn bring us peace and love. Let the trumpets sound for our victory. We are God's chosen people.
Hey, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please take a moment to like, share, and comment. If you really, it really helps for you to spread the message, spread the word, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button down there and follow button. So never you miss out on any fresh content that I share. Hit that notification bell so that you get all the update and be part of this amazing community. Your support makes all the difference. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more wonderful